This week on Lidl Communications, we're flexing. I pity the fool. I pity the fool who doesn't flex. So, you just got the memo. It's not flexing, it's flex time that we're talking about this week. So flex time. Okay. So there's a couple of different things to think about with flex time. There's two options. One is if you have a formal flex time program where everybody gets a certain amount of time to use how they see fit, whether it's to come in late, leave early, take an extended lunch within a certain parameter. So things that you need to think about if you're going to have a formal flex time policy is, when are your heavy production times? When do you need people to absolutely be in the office or available to do work? Those are the things that you really need to think about, right? So when you're putting together your policy, and certain roles, it works better for others. Receptionist, do you have a backup to make sure that somebody's there to greet people as they come in, right? So yes, offer your receptionist flex time, but make sure you have a backup plan that she needs to ask before she just takes that flex time, right? Financial reporting. When I worked basically financial adjacent is what I like to call it. But the folks that were in financial reporting, the end of quarter reporting, nobody was getting any time off. Like, if your head was cut off, you really need to show a picture for proof, right? So those times like that, because you have really high productivity, you need all hands on deck. So consider when you're developing your flex time policy that you need to make sure that any flex time that's taken is approved by a manager. So manager's discretion, my favorite two words, probably in the English language, at least for policies. So you really need to make sure that you're carving that in when you're talking flex time. Also consider with flex time, when does somebody become eligible for flex time? If somebody's been there for a month, maybe they shouldn't be eligible yet. Or if you do it by seniority, if you do it, the longer you've been there, the more flex time you can earn. Those sorts of things that you need to think about before you start doling out flex time. Okay, so the other option with flex time is to have something a little bit more informal, and that means having a flexible work schedule. So where there is not a formal set number of hours for flex time, instead, it's a lot of places will call this on the way you work, flex. Well, I guess they shouldn't call it flex time, job sharing, those sorts of things. And that is when you have a responsibility to get your work done. But if you need to leave early for an appointment, if you need to see little Timmy's soccer game, those sorts of things, then you adjust your working schedule to fit those items in, those commitments in, and then you're making up the time, maybe later in the evening, maybe early in the morning, maybe you're working through lunch. Do not recommend you're working through lunch. Everybody needs a break, but you are finding a way, you are allowing your employees to find a way to manage their workflow to be able to make these commitments. And that is a flexible working schedule. There is no set amount of hours. What you want to make sure is the work's getting done and the hours that they are working are getting recorded appropriately. If you have a salary employee, that doesn't matter as much as an hourly employee. So make sure that people are getting the job done. If they need to come in early, stay late, whatever it is to make up that time. But it also allows them the flexibility to be able to make those family commitments, because that's what we're talking about this month, is work and family. And you don't have to be a parent to know that balancing work and family is rough. It can be rough. There can be a lot of commitments. There could be things that you want to make sure that you're there for, whether it's dealing with a child's events or activities, whether it's dealing with a pet, whether it's dealing with aging parents, or a sick spouse. So all of the things that you need to make sure that you are considering in the flex time policy is that people will have these life events. It's not just in the hands of the parents. So that's what we're talking about this week on Lido Communications. I will catch you again here next week for another topic. Have a great week.